Okay, I'm calling to order the Board of Assessors meeting Thursday, November 10th. It is 4:08 at the Lakeville Public Library. We do not have anyone else here, so there is no public comment. The next agenda item is to review and sign monthly abatement reports for motor vehicle, followed by monthly tax title abatements for October, and any invoices and statutory exemption reports for vision and munis for October. So what I would like to do next is probably turn it over to Dave, and you can update on what's going on and also where we are in the recertification process.
So while John and others sign, I'll talk a little bit about the certification process. So there's a lot of questions around Town Hall about where we are in the process. And so I just came up with a quick timeline of where we have been. The state first reached out to us through our certification advisor back in January 10th. We worked with her to schedule a preliminary start-off meeting that happened in early February. In the middle of that, couple of weeks, I also sent the preliminary reports to say where we are with our valuations, with our inspections, so on and so forth. In April 12th, we had a request to print off about 200 property record cards for the certification advisor to go through and basically conduct independent inspections to ensure the quality of our data. It's called the data quality study. She did that. I printed off the property record cards 2 days later. She picked them up on the 29th of April. On May 10th, she sent me questions regarding the data quality study. I think out of the 200, there were only like 14 or 15 questions that she had, so our data was pretty solid at that point. I responded to those along with my own inspections on the 24th of June. Part of what had to happen was for me to go out and take a look and confirm the data myself, or Norman to do it as well. Since then, since July really, we've been going through an iterative process to try to come up with a mass appraisal scheme for properties across town. We review the land schedule in full. We review every building valuation in full. We look at all of the extra features. We look at any kind of outbuildings, sheds and pool houses and things like that. We look at everything. There are literally thousands and thousands of data points that we review, and that helps us determine what we put in the system for valuing properties on a mass scale. I would say since the beginning of October, we've been going back and forth with questions on the data, tweaking things here and there, and really justifying the decisions that we made in that iterative process. So Jen may say, I see, for example, that you're valuing your potential extra lots at $50,000. Can you send me a narrative as to why that is?
Jen is our representative at the
Yes,
DOR.
she's our certification advisor. So we go back and forth with that. She had questions yesterday, I sent her information. She had questions today, I sent her information. It all goes into a large packet that she then passes along to her superiors. So it's really kind of like a three-person certification process. It starts with us in the town, it goes to Jen, and then it goes to her superiors at the Department of Revenue, who have the final sign-off. So what Jen's doing is ensuring that any questions that her supervisors might have are already answered before we even get to that phase. So that's where we are now.
So it's with Jen now, it's not?
Yeah, it's with Jen. So what they do is they, anytime they have questions, they also go to their supervisor and say, here's what I'm asking, Lakeville. What kind of answer are you looking for? So that we can sort of tailor our response to ensure that it's good to go once.
So is there a deadline for this? whole process stand?
I mean, there is no deadline. We have, we internally, we want.
The town kind of
Yeah.
has self-imposed
Yeah,
guidelines for when they
we'd
want it
like
done,
to,
but
Yeah,
we'd
so
like it as soon as possible, but
our tentative date was pushed back for the tax hearing from November 21st to December 5th, because Ari wants to advertise adequately. There's a possibility that we might shift to the 28th, but what we can't, Jen can't commit to a done date until she has gone through her entire process, so.
yeah, I think the problem is there's some not with Ari, for example, but other places along the way where they're thinking, well, we need to get this done, why don't you guys just turn it over to us?
Right.
Unfortunately,
yeah, they don't understand
they
the
have
process.
everything, they've had it from us for a while.
Yeah.
They have legitimate questions and it's a
Yep.
process and we can't force
Right.
or rush the issue. And
Right.
in my opinion, if we try to force or rush the issue, they're gonna take Lakeville's and it's gonna go right there. So then we will have a major problem on our hands.
Yeah, and so, Jen is confident that we're moving along, and I spoke with her today, and that she wants to get it done as soon as humanly possible, so we're continuing to push it through.
How often is this research? 3 years?
5 years. There's a third-year review where they ask for some additional documentation beyond what you would do in an interim year, so that would be for us 2027, FY 27. FY 24,
No,
5, 6, 26.
26, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your FY years in municipal world
Yeah.
don't match up with the real world, so they're
Right.
always like a year ahead.
Right.
So, any questions or clarification needed, or thank you for pointing that out. I think it kind of, again, to your point, I think there's some question
Yeah.
as to, what the process is, not necessarily from this board, but
Had-
timing wise and
Has
whatnot.
has this certification taken longer than like previous ones?
I don't know.
No, I can tell you no. I don't know if it's any faster or is happening any sooner, or much sooner, I should say,
Yeah.
but it's definitely not happening any later. I know we have had certifications in the past, where they kind of get pushed till the end of December.
Right.
And again, if memory serves me correct, we always are trying to get it done at some point
In November.
And we just,
Yeah,
it's a
it
wait,
never seems to
it's a waiting
yeah.
game because we don't control when they return it.
So in an interim year, so like last year, I think I looked at, I think we finished on November 5th. But that's
That's,
four forms.
Right.
It's nothing like what we're doing now. I can tell you that the DOR, I think they're down to certification advisors. So in addition to the 36 towns that they already had, each certification advisor has 4 to 8 more. And in addition to the certification years, they also have to do the interim years and the third-year review years.
Yeah.
So they're all in different position where they're at.
I think the important thing to point out is, I think you referenced it either during the meeting or you'd mentioned it earlier or another time, was that we, from a state standpoint, I think you maybe asked the question, we're not outside of any of the guidelines that we're supposed to follow.
No.
It's self-imposed. If
Yeah.
we don't get it done by the 5th,
Yeah.
I understand it creates, a problem
The-
internally potentially, but it's not like where there's a due date that's set by the state that we're gonna have a
Yeah.
problem if we don't.
Jen has a town who is which is still working on their FY 21 certification. So the reason is because most of their revenue doesn't come from real estate taxes. They have other enterprises that drives their revenue, so there's no urgency to get tax bills out. So they haven't billed for 21 or 22.
The town doesn't lose out on anything if we didn't get it done by
No. Yeah, no.
November 21st.
We're not,
It has to
yeah.
get pushed to December 5th, so.
Okay.
Anything else going on that we need to know about?
Since we last met, the deadline for chapter land has lapsed. So our chapter land applications have come in. We won't dispense with those until after the actual tax bills are sent out anyways. Other than that, it's really just certification
Right.
all day, every day.
just keep in mind, obviously, we have our normal schedule where it's every second Thursday. We may, most likely, we will need to call another meeting because obviously we'll want to be presented with
Yeah.
a presentation that goes to the selectmen before.
Right.
Before then and get up.
We might want to do that one remotely.
Yeah, either way, we're
Yeah.
just, yeah. Okay,
Great.
anyone else have any other questions? If not, we've fulfilled our obligation to meet once a month.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
Awesome.